What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to FLA Exposure. This is episode 229. It's been a minute since we've been out here, and it's a beautiful day here in Nova Scotia, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to do this podcast outside. So, welcome back to the show. We got a great episode sponsored by good friends at East Coast Financing. Check them out if you're in the line looking for a used vehicle, eastcoastfinancing.com. Great guys, great supporters of the promotion, and have been for a couple of years now. So anyway, let's get to the business. Nobody's here to see me and my ugly mug. Let's move it on to Cody, the Harbinger O'Halloran, a Newfoundland athlete, competed, had a banger of a fight, did fantastic. The big thing here for our promotion is we love up and coming athletes who are obviously talented, but we love up and coming athletes who are talented but can, almost treat it like a job at sorts. And this kid does that. He respects the promotion. He respects everything around the martial arts, and he holds himself accountable in a lot of different ways. He's got a bright future in the sport, and super excited to welcome him back at FLA 15. So without further ado, and buttering him up, Cody, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you for the words. Thank you for the words.
It's true, man. Again, like I say it all the time in this business, it should be treated like a job from the amateur level all the way up, because especially, like if that's your plan to get to the professional level and take this on it. And yourself and your team represent yourself very well, man. So yeah, I love it. I love having you back. How you been?
I'm great. Training's been going great, and I just can't wait to get back in there and put on another show.
A show it was, definitely a show it was, man. You had a hell of a debut. Let's get started. You haven't been on the podcast before, and you might be new to some of our fans, but Cody, again, like he said, he put on a hell of a show at FLA 15 against Matt Swan, a banger. Almost, we don't do fight of the night too often, but
yeah,
one of my favorite fights of the night. I'll come out and say that, no problem. So how'd you get started in martial arts, man?
Geez, it's a bit of a complicated story. When I was younger, me and my brothers, we all played basketball growing up, but I was also, in the karate scene and stuff like that, as you are when you're a youth. And as I got older, I started to really like the competitiveness of everything. I mean, basketball or karate or whatever. So I just started to seek out the closest thing to me where I could go in martial arts and in fighting. It was just something that was kind of scary, but I liked the scariness of it. And then I was lucky enough that during COVID I found Rogue. They had just opened up, actually. They were like a new gym that opened up during COVID. So I decided to try it out, and from that day I fell in love with mostly the training. And it was training at first. I loved training, and I loved the hard work. And then the natural progression of that is like, okay, what's the next step? We train with good guys, okay, and then we got to fight. So let's get a fight somewhere. And then it just kind of spitball from there. And it's just a passion now that I hold very dear to my heart.
Love it. Yeah, it's interesting, because I kind of figured you played other sports. Sometimes you can tell, like, just certain people and how they perform, or how they also, again, going back to how they hold themselves outside the cage. I come from a team atmosphere background. Before I got involved in martial arts, I got involved in martial arts when I was 26, so I was a little late coming into the sport. And like, coming from a team background, it's a little bit different, so yeah, I kind of had that feeling that you might have been involved in another sport for sure. So it translates very well, man. An athlete's an athlete, right? And if you're good at one and you put in the work, you can easily be good at another, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What for your height, that's another thing that what, 6 feet, 6'1"?
Yeah, so I mean, on a good day I might be 6'1", but I just say 6 foot. Everyone, you always round up a little bit. I might be 5'11", might be 6 foot on a good day. But yeah, so naturally, playing basketball when I was younger, I was always a bit of a forward, and I never had much size to me. But when you're playing basketball, you don't really want that much size. And then as I started to train more and take it a lot serious, Crane was like, man, you got a perfect build for these lower weight divisions if you can stay here.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like a, hey, I think my frame and my body type and even the way that I like to fight and I like to train is very rare at the lower weights. And I think it's something about me that, people can kind of get behind, like, oh, it's just this tall striker, and like, you know what I mean? They can watch that. It's sellable. So
Very much
it's
so,
good.
man. Very much so. You remind me almost like I want to. It's funny because when I was watching you fight, I was like, and listen, I'm not blowing you up to, you only have one amateur fight, so I don't want
Yeah,
to.
exactly. It's only
You know,
got one.
but just your body frame and like your look about you kind of remind me of like a mix of like Nate Diaz, early Nate Diaz, and like a Kendall Grove. You know who Kendall Grove is?
Yeah. No,
Kendall.
I don't. I'm not that deep into it, but I know the Nate Diaz comparison kind of well. I mean, that weird body size and the reach and the way that I like to fight. I'm
Yeah,
sure a lot of people probably drew a comparison there. It probably wasn't a rare comparison.
yeah, it was a great fight, man. You should, our stats guy's watching. There you go, Dave. So, he said he was 6'1" on a good day. So let's make him 6'8" for the broadcast. What,
Yeah.
what did you think of FLA 13, man? You came over here, like we said, you put on a great show, had a hell of an opponent, Matt Swan. It takes two to tango. And,
Yeah, of
um,
course.
that was
Man.
a shithole of a snowstorm that night. I remember you guys had an awful trip getting home, but
Yeah, so that whole event, from everything, was just the only way I can describe it is kind of an out of body experience in terms of how starstruck and how at awe I was. I remember walking into weigh-ins and seeing all of it, like the fabulous cage crew setting up the cage and everyone was working hard, and I stood there and I went back. I was like, wow, this is legit. This isn't one of those around the corner fight promotions. This is legit.
yeah.
And it felt like every single moment was something that I wanted to remember. Even the snowstorm. I mean, so we were supposed to leave that Sunday. A lot of people know me. I don't like to take time off. So I wanted to get back and train. Same with my coach, Ben Crane. He wanted to get back. He wanted to get back in the gym that Sunday. And where there was a snowstorm, they canceled our flight. So then we had to find a last minute Airbnb, and we had to, do the whole 9 yards. But the whole experience from the fight to the weigh-ins to after the fight to the snowstorm and everything was something I'll never forget. And I truly mean that. I'll never forget it, of how awesome it was. That's the only way I can describe it, how awesome it was.
Man, that's I'm not sure how old you are, Cody, but those are very wise words, man, for somebody so young, because I sit there every event, man, like, and it's very stressful. There's a lot of stuff going on and there's a lot of things on the line. And I sit there every event and it's just, I look around and there's sometimes like my eyes almost at 6 o'clock when those doors open. I'm like, it's happening, man. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I almost like water, like tears in my eyes a couple of times. I'm like, man, this is happening. This is crazy. Like, and it is. It's an unreal thing. It's definitely not a small little promotion. And when you see it all come together, man, it's pretty awesome. And you've been, like, that's a big stadium to make your first debut. Like that was a big
Yeah.
crowd, man. Like,
Yeah, no. We kind of, when we came back to it, we came back to the island and kind of regrouped. We looked back and we were like, man, what a stadium to debut in, what a crowd, what an atmosphere. I mean, from what I can tell, it looked like that was one of, if not the biggest events that you guys put off. And I was just like, wow, the way that everything worked out, that I was a part of it was surreal. It was so surreal.
yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was a great crowd. Moncton's always treated us well. We have a great fan base there, and this is our first foray into Halifax. So anybody listening,
Mhm.
if you're in HRM, Halifax, Dartmouth, anywhere close, get your tickets. I think we have like 30 tickets left in the party zone, the Cold Street party zone. It's up top, like kind of like a private box, and
Nice.
private washroom, private bar, all that kind of stuff, and then general tickets. So yeah, we have a fantastic crowd lined up, man, and a great fight lineup too. So can't wait for sure. Um, talking a little bit about Rogue MMA. I know, Ben, he's been a fantastic guy to deal with, super classy and just very easy to work with. What's the team at Rogue MMA like, and how's it going?
So it's going great. I mean, for how tight knit the martial arts community on the island is, seems how we're away from everyone and everything got to be serious in order to travel. And Rogue is fairly new in terms of gyms. I think the progression for the gym is great. I mean, obviously it starts from the top down, and I think that it's really a testament to who Ben Crane is. And I mean, he's a some people might say he's a bit stern or a bit dry, but I mean, he is truly the one who keeps the engine running at the gym. And the guys that train there, they know it. There's a lot of guys that I'm training with now that this is what they want. They would like to also fight, and they know that stuff like this doesn't come overnight. You got to put in the hours and got to put in the work. And like I said, that's truly what Crane preaches. And it's a testament to the guys that we have there. Like some of them, some of them have been training there for 6 months or 8 months, and are already seeing massive growth in their game. And when they're going against me, they're hitting that clean shot against me. I've been training at Rogue for 3 years, and I got to fight. And these guys just started. They'll hit that clean shot, and you'll
Yeah,
say you wouldn't have hit me that with a few weeks ago. But that just shows how the progression is a slow build, but it's definitely worth it. But no, the guys at Rogue are awesome. I love to be there. I look at Rogue as my second home, and I think that really has to do with the guys I train with, and obviously with Ben Crane, the spearhead of the operation.
yeah, it's key, man. Like I've trained at my club now. Like I love my professors. I've trained with the guys for like almost 15 years, and I'll never train anywhere else. I'm not a big competitor or anything, but for me, they've been there for me in a lot of shitty, tough times, man. And
Hmm.
that's what character for me is really what develops a relationship. It's inside the gym, outside the gym, whatever it is. When like. And he was a great guy. He was really is one of a great coach to deal with. So I know what you're talking about. Um, Summer in Newfoundland, man. We're not far away. We're here in Nova Scotia. It's probably very similar, but what's hobbies for you after you get this fight over with, and so you can enjoy and eat whatever the hell you want and do your thing.
Yeah. So after the first fight, my biggest thing was I wanted to set goals after this one. I knew that after my first fight there'd be a second, and ultimately, as many times as you guys have me back, I'm going again. So I know that after this second one, there's going to be a third. But just little things here and there, like I'm signed up for a marathon here a few weeks after I get back from the fight, and local jujitsu tournament,
Nice.
and stuff like that. Like it's just the little things that can keep me keep me stepping forward even when the fight season might be over, because obviously the fight game isn't like basketball where you have an off season. It's a constant game of getting better and improving yourself in between each fight. So anything I can do, whether that's jiu-jitsu tournaments and running and staying in shape and going up for walks, everything I can do in between fights is basically what I look forward to.
Smart, man. Growth. Like it's very simple. Like in this, and if I always say, like, there's in this business, like if you're not working hard, like somebody else is gonna, especially if you're
Yeah,
not.
exactly. Yeah.
Like for me, like in our business, like I'm working when you're sleeping, and that's
Yeah.
the thing that I've said that from the beginning, and that's like 10 years now, and it's the same motto, right? And so, um, unfortunately, it affects your sleep a little bit, but.
Yeah, yeah. But
What's the future for Cody? What's your background, man? Like, what education at all, or what? Are you full on student or full on fighter? What?
so my goal originally was to join the RCMP, something like that, something that gives me something to strive towards. I mean, I'm such a goal-oriented person. I mean, I just explained it. I'm coming back and doing a marathon. I've never ran a marathon before,
That's a
but
good goal, though.
it's another goal, right? So doing something that I wanted to always be progressing towards the next stage. That was my plan. And then when I got this fight, I said, hold on a minute, there might be something a little bit more. This is my passion and truly, and I want to try it until the wheels fall off per se. Like the fight game is a unpredictable one, so you never know your next move, the outcome of your next move. So it's just take it one step at a time and one fight at a time. And I mean, I'm gonna go until I can't, or until something someone tells me I gotta stop, pretty much. But it's just right
Nice.
now it's fully focusing on the fight game. I know I'm an amateur and I've got one amateur fight. I'm not a professional, nothing like that, but I look at this as a passion and a job. I take this very serious and just slowly progressing however long that takes. I mean, I'm only 21 to answer your question earlier, or I'm not even 21. I'll be 21 the day after the event. My birthday is the day after, June 9th.
Oh,
So
badass.
I'm not even
Nice.
I'm not even 21 yet. So I got loads of time to do this and follow my passion and my dreams, and then whatever comes of it kind of thing.
That's a very smart take on it, man. And taking it seriously. If you look at our fights and you look at our events, like obviously we take it serious as a production, as a promotion, and
Of course, yeah.
our fights are, high level, man. You look at you and Swan, like your first fight, like it was a little wild, but my God, like what an entertaining, super fun fight. That's what fans want to see, man. And
Yeah, of
you
course.
guys both you guys left that cage and are fine, like in ready to go. You know what I mean? And that's
Hmm.
what's the best thing about this sport. But going back a little bit too, just talking a little bit about you competing in local tournaments, man. I love hearing that because I really wish people would do that more often. Whether it's get out there and do an amateur boxing match, or do amateur wrestling tournaments, whatever it happens to be, like well rounded, like try to get as many opportunities as you can, and the way the rules are set up too, and also don't say like I'm only an amateur, you know what I mean? Like to me, that's listen, an amateur thing. Like there's a lot of people who like in the whole sport forever and now still go pro. Like before, there was no amateur scene locally. You had to
Hmm.
go pro right off the bat. So the
Yeah.
fact that you're able to go amateur, man, and get that experience and take 5 or 6 fights and take your time, man. There's no, especially
Yeah.
like you said, you're 20 and a half. You could, with FLA, you might be able to get 6 fights in 2 years,
Hmm.
amateur. Who knows,
Yeah.
right? And then go from there, man. So you have a great attitude, a smart attitude about it, man. And we'll give a shout out to Mr. Ben Crane again, and
Yeah,
whoever's.
of course. It's he's the one behind the wheel. I'm just the I always say whenever we're training, I say, you got the controller, I'm just the video game character. It's just he
Yeah.
tells me what to do and I do it, and it's truly starting to instill in my beliefs and my hard work from the things that he teaches us and the things that he doesn't teach us, like the little stories of him saying when he was training in taekwondo when he was younger, and the way that he runs a training session, just those little things you just pick up on it, and I'm just being molded. I'm just a video game character. That's
Wow.
all I can say about it, and he's the one guiding it all, right? So
Yeah, he's a good guy. Ben, you owe us some money, buddy. You owe us some money. This turned into like a Ben Crane infomercial. The best coach.
Yeah, really. I don't mind that. I'm sure he's gonna say something later on tonight, like, "Hey, why'd you talk so much about me?" And he was like, He's gonna say you were supposed to be there and kind of talk about yourself." I was like, "No,
Well, man, like
you're
you're
the man."
you're a humble kid, and like that goes back to when I met you at the first time, like you like I love that when people come up to me and they're like, "Hey, man, how you doing? Thanks for having me," or whatever, right? Like it's just again, it goes back to like treating it like a little bit like a job and just being like, "Hey, we're in this together." So it was cool, man. I appreciate you doing that. Advice for any kids in Newfoundland who, again, you're one. There's not very many amateurs in Newfoundland right now. There's a handful. Hopefully more in the future. Everything's building over there, and it's a bright future over there. So any kids that are watching, any advice for them? If they wanted to get in there and maybe or eventually, join a gym or whatever.
Yeah, so Jeez, I'm not. I'm usually looking for advice. I'm usually not giving it. I never feel like I'm in a place to give advice, but I feel like the biggest thing is just that feeling of unease and the kind of I'm walking in the fog, which comes with kind of the unknown territory you're walking on. I think that's completely normal. I think that's something that I found out. I'm still finding out. You know that the what's the next step and how do I get there? You might not know, but it's just like that is normal, and just take any little step that you can to go towards your goal and towards your passion and pursue it full and wholeheartedly, like without doubt. Just know that I got this and this is my goal. I'm gonna go, even if I don't know the next step. I'm gonna take one, right? I don't know where my foot's gonna land, but I'm gonna step. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. And eventually, the fog will clear and you'll kind of get on this path. You'll hopefully find a great promotion, like Fight League Atlantic, that has you on podcasts and puts you on fight cards and all that stuff. So once you'll settle in, and once you settle in, you'll know you're on the right path.
nice, good man. Yeah, it's true. Finding the right people and finding the right path is definitely important in this sport, man. No question. Final word, man. Shout outs. Anybody like you'd like to thank, inside, outside, sponsors, anybody.
Geez, that's a that's a good question. I mean, as you know, I roll with a pretty big team. I want to shout out, obviously the closest family members to me. My parents. They we talk about Ben Crane instilling some values in me, and man, my parents have done that tenfold. Especially my father. He's a hardworking, stern man who, when he puts his head down, that's where he goes. And so it's really my parents. My mom is the same way. She might be a little bit nicer. She might be a little bit more open.
Yeah,
But no, it's definitely my parents. My brothers. They instilled that competitiveness and that grit, and they give me something to strive towards. I look at my brothers as people that I want to have look up to me. I want to be the guy for them, and it's definitely them. My training partners, especially some of the guys, Daniel, Brady, these guys who only started training within, a year, 2 years, and they're in the gym just as much as me. I got fights coming up, and these guys are coming in when they get off. They're tired. They got no fights. They got no plans, but they're, putting in the same amount of sweat as me. Um, you know, Ben
it's easy.
Crane and obviously Patrick O'Reilly. Yeah, they're part of the team, right? The guys who are running Rogue. Ben Crane gets a lot of credit because he's the face, but there's another guy behind the scenes, Patrick O'Reilly. He's a bit of the paperwork guy, so shout out to him. He's a good man as well. And yeah, all my friends too. My friends, my girlfriend, my friends, all that. Just these people around me that they seen this dream before I seen it. They said, "Man, you got something here. You're cooking with something here." And there'd be days where I'd start to hang out with them, and they'd be, "Man, how'd training go? How's this going?" Or hanging out with my girlfriend. She kind of gets the brunt of it sometimes, especially during fight week. I might come home, be sore, be a bit moody or whatever, and she'll come over and she'll just kind of she'll know. She won't ask me about it, and she'll just kind of help. But it's all these people, tons of people around me that are helping me out.
It definitely takes, my wife, I know exactly what you're talking about. She definitely doesn't get enough credit. If it wasn't for her, man, like to be honest, and John's wife, the Fight League Atlantic probably wouldn't exist, because there's been a lot of, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of through COVID, like hurricanes, all this other bullshit that we've dealt with. So I know what you mean, man. It takes a team, it takes a mountain, and we have a fantastic team too. So big week ahead, man. I want to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to jump on
Of
here,
course.
chat, chop it up, talk about FLA 15, and yeah, thank all your team for the hard work they're putting in getting you ready, man. And I'm excited to see you back in there, buddy. And may you have a great week, a great cut, and a great trip, safe trip. And we will see you, sir, next Friday at weigh-ins.
Perfect. I can't wait.
Pay-per-view available Monday, fightleagueatlantic.com for all you Newfoundland fans, and remaining tickets available at fightleagueatlantic.com. General tickets only, 30 party zone tickets available up top, and then general tickets available at the door. Any final words, Cody?
No, I just can't wait to put on a show and you know, put on a show. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm giddy here just thinking about it. I'm sure James is gonna put on a show, and I'm gonna put on a show. We're gonna put on a great fight. There's gonna be a bit of blood. You know, they're gonna be everything. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Let's go, baby. Come on. Halifax, here we go. Dartmouth, HRM. Biggest show in FLA history. Who knows? We'll see. It's looking that way. Thanks for joining us,
Let's
Cody.
go.
We'll see you soon. See ya.